I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and I'm your host on the show that's by a fan for the fan, and you got to know about you, the fan. And do I have a special treat for you today? So if you notice the opening, I showed some goalie mask. And I gave a hint to who I'm going to show between the goalie mask and our friend Jeremy Boyer. This guy is an icon, and it's not himself, but the words that he said. And you will, just by saying, trade me right fucking now, you know who I'm talking about. So please welcome from the movie Slapshot, the one, the only, Mr. Yvon Barret.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, well, hello, Yvon, and I forgot to hit the right button for you. I forgot to go, this is exactly what you needed. Heck, I got the crowd here. We had to clap for you. Yvon, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit down with us. This is an honor and a pleasure for me.
That's nice for me. That's my first time in Honolulu.
Well, you know what? We got to figure out a way to get you to Honolulu because I think we could have some fun here, sir. You are, and when I said an icon, and most people don't know you by name, but they know your words, and the words that you said during, I guess you got maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes of screen time, where
Yes,
you stole the scenes.
yeah, I was lucky. I had a funny character to portrait, and Nancy Dowd gave me some beautiful lines.
Oh,
Yes.
she did. Now you and me talked a little bit prior to this, and we've had, and we kind of went over some of the things. Can tell us a little bit, like you told me, about how the screenplay for Slapshot
Slapshot.
came together.
Oh yes, that's fun. They were looking for a short, squat French Canadian, and George Hill, the director, and the casting director Mike Fenton made it to Montreal to audition French Canadian actors for the role. And finally, after having auditioned 300 people at least, they were unhappy with the people they met. So they were led in Montreal by a friend of mine, Donald Pilon, an actor with whom I had done some movies. And he decided to route them at Carlamy movie to see some pieces of the movie we had made together. And as soon as they saw me, they said, yes, we want to see him today. But in fact, I live 500 miles east of Montreal. So they sent a plane ticket in Montjoli Airport. And I made it to Montreal around 6 o'clock the same day. And Mr. Fenton brought me to a restaurant, and I was really, you know, interested by the idea of being working with Paul Newman, one of my idols. And he told me about the movie. Well, the movie starts on you, and he told me the whole story. And we went back to his room, and around midnight, after having read the script from one page to the last one, we did the opening scene as an audition, and he gave me the lines, and I started improvising after we had done the few pages, and I think I had already a good idea who was Denis Lemieux, and I finally made it. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, you getting casted was perfect. I mean, you fit that role beautifully. But the script, that what I wanted to get into more was how Mary or Mrs. Dodd created the script. That is an interesting story in and of itself.
That's a great story. Our brother was playing for the Johnstown Jets, and he was going to maybe play for the Chicago Blackhawks. But he was
Ooh.
but he was so badly injured, he could not uh, keep going on his hockey career. So he found his sister who was studying script writing in LA, and he asked her to come to Johnstown to have a look at how things were happening there. So she spent a few months there using tape recorders in the locker rooms, looking at everything. And she almost wrote a documentary. And that's the main reason why I think it's still there after 45 years. That's uh, that's a miracle. It's not a miracle for me. It was, and it is, because to be involved, we did tours in Germany, 4 tours. We went to Australia, and Hockey World is all around the world, and it's the Hockey World movie. They decided that that's their movie.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, that's it. Yours.
No, no, you're right. For most people, this movie is one. When it comes to hockey movies, the majority of people put this as number one. For me, it's number two. I'm sorry, I'm a Mystery Alaska fan. I think that takes what a small town, what hockey can mean to a small town, to a different level. But that's neither here nor there.
That's
What
yours. That's
that's
yours.
mine.
Yeah, but for the Hockey World, Slapshot is.
Oh no,
Different
you're
point.
absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the weird one here. No, so did you play goalie or did you play hockey when you were a kid or prior to the movie?
Yes, I did play hockey, but as a forward, never as a goalie.
Never as a goalie. So
No.
now when you've got to do the goalie scenes, who did you emulate?
Oh, I start rehearsing my goaling world, and I was almost going to do my own stunts when I made it to Johnstown. I was ready to do it,
Yeah.
but the first time we went on the ice with the equipment, I was missing a part of equipment protecting my knee. And even if George Royal had asked everybody to do not slap shot me inside the blue lines, one actor did, and he hit me, and I made the save with my knee, but with the interior part of the knee, and I fell on the ice. George Royal was there, so he came to me and he said, "Oh, are you, Yvon? Are you okay?" I said, "I made the save," but but I was almost crying. So
Oh my goodness.
they sent me to the Johnstown Hospital, and they brought in the hockey team doctor who was aware of those kind of injuries, and he put me on crutches for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So,
I
so you
was I was desperate. I thought they're gonna take somebody else to do the job. We were going to start the shooting on Monday, and it was Saturday afternoon. So I was really down, and I went back to the hotel. They brought me back in my room, and as soon as I was there, Lindsay Krause, who was one of the girl in the movie, came to me and said, "Yvon, I'm gonna take care of you, change your eyes, and take care of yourself." And I was there for 1 hour and almost desperate, and they all came in the room. George Royal with his Screw magazine, Newman with a basket of fruits, and a fine Napoleon bottle, and Alan Nichols had wrote a song for me. They were all in the room. The room was full, and they told me that no problem. I was Denis Lemieux, and they will change the shooting
schedule.
program and keep me in. But it was impossible for me to go back in the nets because the one who doubled me was Ron Dawkin, who was the number one goalie for the Johnstown Jets, and he was lefty. So when he took my place, it was impossible for me to go back and use.
Ah,
I'm right-handed,
right-handed.
and he
Yeah.
did a great job as Denis Lemieux goalie.
Oh no, no. Yeah, so I did. I kind of rewatched the film, and it's just first of all, I paid more attention to you than I normally have, but you stole your scenes, and you had some of the iconic lines. The poker scene about losing your shit instead of your shirt. That was beautiful. The hotel room scene, where you're on the phone,
Yes, talking with my agent.
your agent. Who
Yes,
was on the other line? Who was on the other end?
huh? That was nobody on the other.
Nobody.
There was nobody on the phone. I said, Bernard, call Detroit. Tell them bullshit. That was one of the lines. and and after that, the terrible line, trade me right fucking now.
That
That's the
was
line.
no. I'm sorry. So for that movie, that line was perfect. It was
Yes, it
perfect.
was.
And then the way you hung up the phone, I mean, it's just no, you didn't slam it down like they said, hang it up now. You just kind of like placed it really gently down. You know,
I was on control.
yeah. And then the scene that everybody just immediately, and I got asked about this. So normally, I'll be honest, normally I will not put out who I'm going to interview, because in a couple of times that I've done it in the past, that interviews fell through or something happened and I never got to play it, whatever. So I decided this time, but this time I just felt a little different. So I told people that I was interviewing you, and I kept getting asked about that opening scene.
Oh,
Right?
that's something. That's a great scene, and that's one take. It took only one take,
Oh,
because
wow.
yeah, because Andrew Duncan, when we rehearsed the scene, kept his leg on the floor, so I was hitting the floor with my stick. But when we shoot the first take, he was nervous and his leg came up a little bit, so I hit him straight on the leg, and his face changed completely, and that was the good one.
Oh my goodness.
From
No,
the
it was. It was the look on his face. I mean, I'm like, wow, did he actually hit him? You know, because I'm paying attention to nuances, because this look on his face. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It did better than that when you speared him. That was good.
yeah, I know that. I did. I know it was the scene they will kept, so I did everything the best I could.
Well, then the part where he goes, well, the Chiefs will be playing against Hyannisport tonight at the War Memorial. he's deadpanning it, and you can tell he's in pain. Right?
Yes, poor Andrew.
What was some of your favorite moments? Now, and the reason I'm asking, I'm talking not about the filming itself, but during filming, because there's been a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and one of the movies that gets a lot of the behind the scenes is Caddyshack, which came out right about the same time, within a year or so, right? And there was a lot of talk about how the crew was partying all the time and doing all this.
Yeah.
Was that the same with this crew?
That was almost the same. We were a bunch of guys having fun. That was it. But shooting is very. It keeps us busy from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock every night. And 6 days a week. So the rest of the time, you prepare the next scenes, and you relax. But for sure, we had a couple of beers.
Now, I don't want to see, everyone probably will want me to get into Newman, and I really don't want to get into Newman, because he was the star. He was the way they promoted the film, like the trailer. It was, and Paul Newman. But what I want to get into was the supporting cast, because you guys seem to lift him up in almost every scene.
Oh, and he was lifting us up too, and Strutter Martin, and there were a bunch of great actors. Strutter Martin was fantastic. I think he gave the tone to the movie.
Right.
The way he works, the way he was. That was different for Newman, because he was a star already, so it was impossible for him to come with us in a restaurant having a beer or with us out of the hotel where we were staying because people were running on him with Kodaks and flash and everything. It was that.
Yeah.
That was his life. And that was not funny for him. I don't think so. But
Well,
with the rest of the gang who were great actors too,
yeah.
everybody in that movie had a fantastic part to do.
Yeah.
And and with a director like George Royal, I'll tell you for one scene. You know, when I come in the locker room and do like an epileptic crisis,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, I was sitting in front of the locker room from 8 o'clock in the morning. We were around 6 o'clock in the night, dressed as a goalie. I was tired. I was rest, and we had a scene, a couple of pages of lines to do. But George Royal came out of the locker room. They had finished the scene they were shooting, and he came to me and he said, "Yvon, forget the lines. Do me an epileptic crisis."
So this is actually the towards the end of the movie, right?
Yeah, yeah,
After you guys are trying to play old time hockey and you're getting your butts, rearranged. So that's when you came in and just kind of like collapsed on the bench, correct?
absolutely. Yeah. Yes, and that they called me one take Barret. I was I was pretty good on first takes.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of actor. You know, I was ready when we shoot it, and I'm always that way when I
Yeah.
work as an actor. I'm close to the character I have to portray, and I'm preparing myself quite well. You'll
Well,
see.
we'll see. Now that's what I want to know. How much of Yvon was in the character of, and I think Daru. How did you pronounce his name?
Yvonne, and there
Oh,
were another friends. My name was Yvonne.
Yvon, but I mean the goalie that you played. I can't
Yeah,
remember. I
yeah,
mean, okay,
Denis Lemieux. Yeah,
Yeah, Denis Lemieux. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. We were two French Canadian actors,
Hmm.
Yvan Ponton and Yvon Barret, and they were saying all the time, "You're Yvan, you're Yvonne, that was it."
Okay, so my question here is, how much of you, Yvon, was in Denis? How much did you put of yourself into the character of Denis?
A lot, a lot of myself. Yeah, when they choose me for who I am, and I was happy with this idea. I was not portraying a hockey player star. I was creating a character,
Hmm.
and as you can see, it's still there after 45 years, and
Yeah.
everybody knows the lines. Even in Australia, I was so surprised. In Germany, I had to learn German lines instead of who owns the Chiefs. It was Wim gehört the Chief. Gehren. But that's it. And I work with people who are doing great things to raise money to help hockey players. I worked a lot with Kerry Goulet, who lives in Toronto, and
Hmm.
he did his career in Germany. And he had start two way of fundraising. One is shoot for a cure to raise money to do research on spinal injuries, and another one was stop concussion. And he has a business in Australia, one in Germany, one in Toronto, and I go with him. I am the one who brings people in the arenas.
So I've been watching something behind your left shoulder, I think it is, or right shoulder.
It's my
Is
mask.
that is that the original mask or is that a replica?
It's a replica. Actually, it's my grandson's one. That's the
Ah,
one. That's the one I borrowed to do appearances.
okay. Um, Yeah, yeah. I have a friend, the guy that does the mask that you saw at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
I might have to talk to him about getting a replica of that one made. That's a good mask there.
yeah. That's a pretty good one. Yeah.
Because well, at the beginning of the movie, your mask isn't painted.
No, it when we begin to fight, and when the brothers start to fight people, and we show our ass in the buses, and that's our driver break the bus to make it mean, look mean.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's where they paint the mask.
yeah. Right there. So at that
Yeah,
point, you start coming out with
yeah, and
the
yeah,
gruel mask.
absolutely. And it was impossible to get anything from Universal. They
Mm.
wanted to keep everything in case of reshooting, and they always do that.
Well, so when this movie comes out in '77, it actually flops. It's got mixed reviews. It doesn't do very well. Now
Absolutely.
you had a premiere in Montreal.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you what happened. They had a show at 5 o'clock, and we were in the hall. Nancy Dowd, Alan Nichols, Yvan Ponton, and a few other players waiting to see people. Did they add fun? That was our question. And the first guy who came out of the theater, an Irish guy, maybe 70 years old, a huge, a real fan of Montreal Canadiens. And he walked straight to me and he said, "You're a disgrace for hockey." That
Oh,
was the first reaction I had. So for me, it was quiet from 77 to 2001 before I really did appearances for Slapshot.
well,
Yeah,
and that's where this the story of the movie itself kind of starts to change. So
absolutely.
right in the mid '80s, '85, '86, '87, cable TV is starting to really come into American homes,
Yeah,
and the rerun or the movie channels are coming out, and
absolutely.
some of them TMC and some of these other channels start playing Slapshot.
Yes,
Well,
yes. It took a while,
all right.
a long time. This year that was funny because uh, professional hockey players, people from Montreal Canadiens, they were offended by the language Newman was talking, and they did not want people to see what was really happening in their locker rooms.
Yeah, oh, okay.
You know, they're guys, you know. But this year, Montreal Canadiens were in the Stanley Cup Series.
The finals.
And, yes, and they did a short movie, a collage with the lines from Slapshot. They were decided finally that was okay. You know, we did a documentary maybe 6 years ago about the French version of Slapshot, the one made in Quebec.
Okay.
Because in France it was La Castagne, and that was so far from hockey. Uh, Nancy Dowd, when she heard this version in Paris, she said, "If I bring it in Montreal, they will kill me." So they did a French Canadian version, and that was the first American movie translated in Quebec,
Okay.
and that's a big hit. That's a big hit. That's fantastic. I did my
Oh,
voice in French, and
see, that's what I was going to ask you. So, did you do just your voice, or did you do some of the other voices?
no, we had. I did my own voice. That's it. The Denis Lemieux's lines. That was it. Yeah.
Okay, basically, you guys went back and overdubbed the movie in the French
Yeah, French
Canadian.
Canadian actors did the uh, the English parts,
Okay.
where people who were not speaking French at all.
Yeah,
Speaking.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That The movie itself, just first, I mean, you look at it as it all. I'll tell you the influence it has. When I first started the show 3 years ago, I did a segment called Fan of the Game. And I saw this little girl. She was probably 7 or 8. She's dressed up like one of the Hansons and has a sign on it that says, "We'll trade foil for a puck." You know, this girl is obviously no clue. You know, it wasn't around when the movie came out.
Absolutely.
But
You're right.
The influence that it has on people and the style that it has, when you go out and you're recognized for the movie, how do you feel inside? What is that for you?
You know, I'm lucky. I have the funny part of it. The only people who carries violence are the brothers,
Hmm?
the Jensen brothers.
Yeah.
They saw that movie like their own life story. And as soon as it was released, they start doing television publicity in the States and always bringing that aspect of violence, which is only in their character almost in the movie. And they're not they were not actors, they were hockey players, you know, and they did Slapshot 2, Slapshot 3, and even Slapshot 4. Anyway, I did not look at one of them. We were together in Germany, and they asked me if I had looked at Slapshot 2, and I said no, because a friend of mine called it Slapshit. So the problem is not the guys. There is no humor in the script. There is nothing but violence.
Yeah, there was no way.
Yeah.
There was no way to remake that movie or to carry it on.
It's impossible. You don't have to. We don't have to. It's there. It's still there, and it's still funny. You know, fans of Slapshot, they come home after a day of work. They're tired. They put the DVD in the television set. They sit, open a beer, look at it, and start laughing and forget their day in a few minutes.
Oh yeah. I did that last night, watching that opening scene, which I've seen time and time again.
Yeah.
The second I started watching it, my mood changed, because it was just no, I'm serious, it does. It changed just because it was so funny right from the get-go.
That's
right?
a good scene. Absolutely.
So there's two things that I want to talk about before we end this one. We end this interview, and hopefully we'll do another one in a month or so to follow up. But first of all, there's one scene in the movie that pays its heritage to the St. Louis Blues. And that, I think you know the scene I'm talking about, is when the Hanson brothers hit in the head with the keys.
Oh yeah.
Right? That was written based on the St. Louis Blues riot inside the stands in Philadelphia a couple of years earlier.
I did not knew that.
Right.
That's the first time I hear about that fight.
So there's if you go back, I think you can go on YouTube and see it. There was a famous brawl with Bobby Plager and Barclay Plager. I forget the coach. Something happened after second period. Gary Unger tells this story amazingly. And he goes in the locker room and nobody comes in, and he hears the ruckus and goes out, and everybody's in the crowd. Bobby's in there swinging away and all this. So the police, after they got everybody in the police came to the locker room to arrest the Blues, just like they came to arrest the Hanson brothers. And the coach kind of did the same thing, where he, you're not taking my guys type thing, and he kind of did that so that scene has its roots in that fight between the Blues and the
So it had to be that fight had to be before 1976.
Yeah, that one was, I want to say it was in 74, 75, right in that period.
Okay.
Right. Well, that fight that I'm talking about created the Broad Street Bullies.
Okay.
Right? Because the owner said, we're never going to let that team treat us like that again. And that's when he starts hiring the guys like the Slapshot guys. right? He starts getting those guys, so that creates the Broad Street Bullies. Now, the other homage that this movie plays to St. Louis was Lily, and I forget her the guy that plays the second guy next to Newman, the star of the team, is wearing a St. Louis baseball cap, a Cardinals baseball cap, a couple of times in the movie, right? So,
are you from St. Louis?
Yes, sir. Right, I am. I'm born and raised. Though I live in Hawaii now, I am a St. Louis boy through and through. And I enjoy seeing the nuances of those things.
Yeah,
and the last thing that I want to talk to you about is the clothes, because the clothes these guys wore were outrageous. I mean, Newman's suit. How did he wear that every day?
Don't know.
I mean, and even the clothes you wore, you guys were dressed to the nines, I guess, as the saying was back then.
That was very, very funny for us to dress like that. That was crazy.
Right. Well, Yvon, this has been so much fun for me. Thank you so much. I don't want to take too much of your time. We can do another interview later and talk more about the movie and your life and all of that. I just want to thank you for becoming a quick friend and enjoy and doing this. Thank you so much for joining us on the Blue Note Fan Report today.
My pleasure, Guy.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's right, calling me Guy makes me so happy, because now, my name with hockey players has always been Guy, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Well, everybody,
Okay. Bye-bye.
I want to say a big, huge thank you to Mr. Yvon Barret. Hopefully I said it correctly.
Yes, you did.
Thank you so much. The goalie, Denis Lamour from Slapshot. Thank you. Aloha, mahalo, and I cannot wait to see you all again on the Blue Note Fan Report. Aloha.